Began with the UE Red Warriors, who claimed the crown in Season 1. Then the Blue Eagles soared the highest in Season 2. Clint Escamis as back-to-back season MVP. Season 3, the Green Archers made history with their relentless hunt for glory. KQ rose up to the occasion, reigned as MVP. 3 seasons. 3 champions. Who will rise next? The next chapter starts now. Pinoyliga Collegiate Cup Season 4, April 26.
One team raring to go back into contention in the UAAP and another team from Tagaytay showing everyone that they can. We have the NU Bulldogs. They go up against the Guang Ming Flying Dragons on our second game of this doubleheader that we have. Starting off with the Benil Blazers, they went up against the UP Fighting Maroons. And now, itong second game natin, 4 p.m. game between, again, the Guang Ming Flying Dragons and the NU Bulldogs. My name is Benny Benitez. Ako po ang makakasama nyo this day para dito sa ating second game of the first day of the Collegiate Cup here at ENDERUN College. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, tingnan po natin kung ano po ang mangyayari ngayong araw na to as we go into our pre-game. We have the NU Bulldogs. They fight it out against the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. As we take a look at dito sa ating mga groupings for Season 4, we got Group Prime, andito kanina, no? Yung UP Fighting Maroons, they went up against the Benilde Blazers. They are with the UST Growling Tigers, the Diliman Flying Dragons, the JRU Heavy Bombers, the Perpetual Outlaws, and the New Era Hunters. While on Group Edge, meron naman tayo ditong 7 teams as well, ang Adamson Falcons, ang AYAC Generals, ang Mapua Cardinals, the NU Bulldogs, and then again, Guaming Flying Dragons, and UP Team 2, and the St. Dominic Pikemen of Asia. Maganda po ang ating mix. As we go ahead and see the tournament formats, we got 2 groups here. They play a round robin format, and then magkakaroon ng play-in for the 6th spot, and then quarter play-ins, and then eventually a crossover finals and a championship. It's going to be a short tournament from April 26 all the way to June 12, but it's going to be a full pack May that we're going to have. So let's see. Ano nga ba itong mangyayari? We got the NU Bulldogs. They go up against the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. As we see, ano nga ba? What will it take para dito sa NU Bulldogs and for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons to win this ball game? My name again is Benny Benitez. Tingnan po muna natin itong lineups, no, ng Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Marami tayong dito, mga familiar faces and names that we have, but the ones that stand out are the following, ano, si Stephen Ihebem, of course si Jomari Pecolera, and si Joshua Hamias, who are permanent fixtures of this Guang Ming Flying Dragons. So we expect a lot of good things from the Flying Dragons. Also, keys to winning, they have to run the offense through Stephen Ihevem, outrun, outpace the Bulldogs like what they normally do when they were playing para dito sa Next Man Cup tournament that they played previously. Also, player to watch, you know, Jomari Pecolera, Joshua Hamias, and Stephen Ihevem. While on the other hand, when it comes to dito sa ating NU Bulldogs, there's a lot of fight in them. Obviously, they are Bulldogs, but we want to see here Steve Nash Enriquez, Reinhard Humamoy, Tebel Garcia. There's so many names that are very standouts from college basketball and from high school basketball. But you also want to see here a lot of the FSAs that's been going around, yung mga names nila, no? Omar Jan, Muhammad Diasana, even Colin Sakowe. So a lot of names that will come out from here on out. Now, in terms of what's gonna be the keys to winning para sa NU Bulldogs, obviously yung experience nila, yung built-in chemistry that they have already, and like what we said earlier, no, ang kanilang players to watch would be Jake Figueroa, si Steve Nash Enriquez, and si Omar John, one of their FSAs. So let's see, ano nga ba ang mangyayari ngayon as we pick up the pace in terms of what we're gonna do here. Let's turn it over to our courtside reporter Bianca for some of the reports that she gathered from the pregame. Bianca, magandang hapon sa iyo.
Magandang hapon, Benny. Now, truly our opening day for the Collegiate Cup is worth every minute pero hindi pa tayo tapos. Kagaya na lamang ng mantra ng Guangming Flying Dragons after ending their next month cup journey a bit early. Pero this time is the time for them to get things straight. While as for Coach Jeff Napa of the NU Bulldogs, he told me the reason kung bakit may 5 NU Bullpups na kasama sa roster. But I'll tell you more about that as the game progresses. But Benny, I think we have a guest panel for today.
Oh yes, we have Coach Laurent Watkins who's going to be with us in this ball game. He's going to be our analyst and he will break down yung games natin, Bianca. Ano pa ba nasagap mo from the GMC Flying Dragons?
Yes, Benny, as for the Guangming Flying Dragons, after their next Man Cup journey, they focus more on training daw. Para this time in the Collegiate Cup, they could get better and they could learn a lot from this. Pero sabi nga nila, this time is not just the time for them to redeem themselves, but also to prove themselves wrong, lalong-lalo na sa mga natutunan nila noong next Man Cup quarters.
I don't have a partner with me on cam right now. So Bianca, so wala akong matatanungan kung sino nga ba ang bet natin. But with me, I'll go with the Guangming Flying Dragons. I'll always be the eternal dihadista. How about you? Sino nakikita mo na posibleng manalo dito sa laro na to?
Well, Benny, I'd go with the NU Bulldogs considering that they have youngsters from the NU Bullpups roster. And I think that's very promising considering that Coach Jeff Napa is considering as well na i-extend yung legacy and yung culture ng seniors down to the juniors level.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Now, gawin na natin. Let's go to the ball game. Bianca, what do you think? Ano? Let's turn over our game to our courtside announcer.
This is Pinoyliga Collegiate Season 4, live on the official Facebook and YouTube channel, Pinoyliga Cup. Today's game, Guang Ming Flying Dragons facing ENDERUN Bulldogs. Now let's get on the starting unit, introducing first, the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. One by number 8, Ken Barrias. Two by number 6, Gerald Buena. On individual number 7, Stephen Inhibit. And 4 number 13, Joshua Hamyas. Also 4 by number 9, Greg Nakatao. Their head coach is Paul Ramos. Here are the starting five for ENDERUN Bulldogs. Coming to by number 13, Steve Nash Enriquez. Also by number 7, Paul Francisco. Playing center, number 18, Omar John. And forward, number 42, Jolo Navarro. And forward, number 20, Jimmy Pregame. And your Bulldogs head coach is Jeff Napa. Our game officials for this one game, our coach Dennis Estelos, upper 1, Eric Mendoza, upper 2, Jess Bonas.
And we got the starters for this game. We got Steve Nash Enriquez, Paul Francisco, Omar John, Jolo Navarro, and Jake Figueroa for the NU Bulldogs. Now for ang ating mga Guang Ming Flying Dragons, we got Ken Pareñas, Gerald Buena Obra, Stephen Heavens, Joshua Hamyas, and Kurt Lactautau. And we got tip up mga kaliga. We have a very special guest right now. We got Coach Laurent Watkins, who will be with us breaking down the game for us this afternoon. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Coach. How has it been? How does it feel like to be part of the Pinoyliga Cup broadcast team?
Well, it's great, Benny. You know, obviously, I've always wanted to be involved with you guys. I love what you guys are doing here. I'm here almost every weekend, just kind of watching and supporting as much as I can. It's a great opportunity to be here, sitting here with you right now.
Right, Coach, help break down the game with me. We got a very nice ball game. We got the NU Bulldogs, one of the perennial contenders for the UAAP, and we got one of the best programs outside the UAP and the NCAA, the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Talk us through about the early things that you see in this ball game, Coach.
Well, obviously the matchups look good. Both teams have good size. Pretty familiar with the NU team, and they have some players there. Obviously, that kid Nash is a big ball player. He's a big shot maker. He makes plays. It'll be interesting to see where Guang Ming matches up with these guys.
Right, and we got, of course, the early offense of the NU Bulldogs. We go through Steve Nash Enriquez, but talk us through, Coach. What do you see is the biggest advantage, apart, of course, of from the NU Bulldogs being from the UAAP? What are the other things that you see are big advantages for the NU Bulldogs at this point?
Well, NU, the chemistry is obviously there. A lot of those guys have been there for some time, and they don't have a one or a specific person they go to. They all have roles where they can really get in and fill it up and be active, a part of the offense, and then defensively their cohesiveness is there.
Yeah, as we see Omar John with the slam right there, setting the pace early for the big men of the NU Bulldogs. Now, on the case of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, you've seen them when you're competing against them as an assistant coach of the ENDERUN Titans. What do you see are the advantages or the things that they are good at?
Well, Guang Ming's not a bad team. They're obviously going to be playing up right now. Let's just say with the NU, a team that's in the UAP, and so the chemistry is there. The continuity and the fluency in their offense is going to be tremendous, and it'll be interesting to see how they match up. I think they have the size. It's really going to boil down to experience, but some of the chemistry that NU has in terms of running their offense and the fluency in the pick and roll situations, things they're going to have to really sit down and try to focus on more. Those little details is going to be what's going to keep Guang Ming in this game.
Right, as you see that very nice pass from Jake Figueroa, who we know will be one of the biggest names for the NU Bulldogs as they move forward in their preseason and in their season in the UAAP.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, like I said, all of those kids, they all have active roles in the team. There's no sleepers out there. They can all play and they can all make big plays, and they're all an intricate part of what they do collectively as a unit. And when you have a team that play like that, they can always be dangerous.
Right, and they're keeping that pace early, both on offense and on defense.
Absolutely, you can tell they're coming out in a full court press, and they want to push the tempo and kind of force Guang Ming to make mistakes.
All right, as we see the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, they take on an early timeout. We take a break. We'll be right back.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power.
To do it all.
Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
Mga kaliga, get to know our guest analyst, Coach Laurent Watkins. And Coach Laurent, how has it been? Going through Philippine basketball, coming out of the States, and then what do you see about the upside of Philippine basketball?
I mean, you know what? One thing you can't take away from the Philippines, not only fan appreciation, but these kids play with a lot of heart. They play with a lot of heart. I mean, I've seen so many countless games out here with big leads that shrivel right away at the end of the game because they have that never say die attitude, and you just, it keeps excitement. You can't, these are not the kind of games when there's a blowout you can walk away from and figure it's over. No way.
Right. NU, another 2 points for them. It's an 8-0 lead that they have. Right now, the Guang Ming Flying Dragons are in a disarray. They're not getting controls, and they're not getting those spots that they normally get when they play other teams. So you have to understand it's a very experienced team that they're looking at.
Yeah, well, obviously, NU's come down and punched them in the mouth real fast. Going to make them play quick, maybe a little bit out of their tempo and speed. They'll settle in and find their way into this game.
Yeah,
they're an effective team.
Joel Navarro, number 42 for the NU Bulldogs with an end one right there. In terms of adjustment, we have number 2 coming in for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. We got John Orias coming in to replace another guard that they have. Let's see what's going to happen. And we got Joshua Hamyas coming in with that shot, with that incursion, with that floater. That's something that they need, Coach, right?
Absolutely. Getting that gimme real quick will get you right back in the game.
Jake Figueroa taking advantage of that mismatch that he has. Jake Figueroa figures to be, like I said earlier, Coach, will be one of the prominent players that's going to have. He has the size, he has the strength, and he has the ability to take the ball inside like what he did there. Talk us through how he was able to take advantage of that mismatch.
Well, that's the advantage that NU has. I mean, they have size across the board. I mean, they have several players that are almost the same size, so they can basically switch off of any pick and roll in situation and never lose advantage. And offensively, if they're in a pick and roll situation at some point in time, they're going to create an advantage.
And like in the case of what happened
exactly.
there, it's like Jo Marie Pecolera having a difficult time, because napostehan po siya, mga kaliga, ni Jake. Figueroa. As we see here, the set of the Guang Ming Flying are having difficulty because of the size advantage that NU has, even at the guard position, like what happened there.
Yeah, well, NU's obviously going to have to make some adjustments, maybe come out with some high pick and roll situations to free the guards up, to allow them to get into the offense a little bit more fluently and spread the floor and get some opportunities at the rim.
Yeah, so coach of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, coach, what do you think can Paul Ramos do at this point? He's down by 11.
Well, you know, you just have to be patient. You know, it's a game of runs. It's whoever had the longest one in the last one. And I think they'll close the gap a little bit.
I like what they did there. It's 1 3-point shot and probably another one.
There you go. And right away, they're right back in it.
Arias making a contribution early and significant. And we see that 3-point shot of the game, courtesy brought to you by Smart 5G. As we turn over the reins temporarily to our CSR Bianca. Bianca, what do you got?
As I've said during pregame mga kaliga, there are currently 5 players from the NU Bullpups, and this is no coincidence dahil this is part of the long-term game plan of Coach Jeff Napa in order to successfully withhold the legacy of the Bulldogs, considering that Steve Nash Enriquez, Jolo Manansala, and Jake Figueroa are already in their last playing years at sila pa ang mga pinakamatagal na dito sa sistema ni Coach Jeff. Same system pa rin naman daw dahil same program lang, but there is a difference when you start them young. Now, Benny and Coach Lorian, what's the advantage of training young players who will soon be in your team?
Well, one of the best advantage of programs like NU is that there's continuity from the high school program all the way to the seniors program. In a lot of the programs, the school programs right now, they're doing the same, and they see the wisdom. What do you think, Coach?
Well, you know, obviously, you know, we would consider that a farm league system, and they're probably running the same systems from the juniors to the senior team, and so these kids are coming in equipped already. They have a basic foundation of what the older teams are doing, and they should be able to step in. So it's just a matter of grasping the offense, the pace and strength of the game, and getting their bodies prepared at that level.
Yes, and NU, mga kaliga, is one of the best in terms of transitioning their high school players going into the senior program. One of the programs that's also been inside that kind of system is the LaSalle system also, because the De La Salle Green Hills players are going to the LaSalle programs already, similar to what's going on with the NU and like the other successful programs, Coach.
Yeah, that's a tremendous value, you know, to have a program like that that has a feeder system, and the teams are solid. Kids like to win, and they're doing it right at the young levels, and it translates right into the upper levels, and it's good that a lot of those kids are staying at home.
Yep, and you up 15-8 with the ball in the hands of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Coach, talk us through what's going to be the set here. We're going through some ball picks.
Well, you know, I think they did a good job. Obviously, NU's falling back in the zone to probably give them a little different look. And so they're coming with high screens, which I felt like they needed all along, and that opens it up.
The early recognition, Coach, as Omar John makes it a 17-8 ball game. What do you think of that?
Well, you know, they're going to make some adjustments, and I think right now it's more of a sparring match. You know, NU's gone to a 1-2 zone to give them a different look, try to cut off the perimeter a little bit, and then hope that their length can sustain anything else that's coming from the baseline.
That's a beautiful pass by Jake Figueroa right there. Kenshin Padrones, the recipient of a very nice pass, as we see the entry of Devil Garcia, one of the best high school point guards to come out of the recent times from the Adams and Baby Falcons. Coach, talk us through your experiences before when you were playing the Guang Ming Flying Dragons? Have you had the opportunity to coach when you were at ENDERUN against the Guang Ming Flying Dragons?
Well, I never personally had an opportunity to coach against them, but I have had an opportunity to watch them, and they stand toe-to-toe with everybody. I mean, they're going to turn it up at some point in time. They're a scrappy bunch of kids, and and as the game get going, obviously conditioning is going to make the coward of the weaker one. That's for sure, but they won't stop.
Yep. And here we got Omar John with that free throw. Omar John is part of this lineup together with Muhammad Diazana and Colin Sokowe, meaning there's an opportunity for all of them to see who will be FSA 1 for season 88 for the NU Bulldogs. So the preseason coach is a good opportunity for FSAs like Omar John to step up.
Well, absolutely. I mean, all of these guys want an opportunity. It's nothing like a UAAP season with fans, out the roof. It's just a great environment. And these kids, they come out and they want to be competitive. I mean, each of those FSA players will want to be on the floor. And right now, it's just a matter of who gels well with who they have and picking up some momentum and whatever's needed at that point going into the season. Barring injury,
Jedrick Solomon and Jello Santiago in for the NU Bulldogs right now as we see the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, number 16 on the floor right now. We got Jesse Bermudo on the free throw area. Splits that free throw, making it a 20-9 ball game. Still an 11-point deficit for the Flying Dragons. Let's see what's going to happen here. It's a miss on the part of the NU Bulldogs and an early offense for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. The height difference, coach, is what we're seeing right now, because if you take out the FSAs for both, it's a clear advantage for the NU Bulldogs.
Well, obviously it's a factor. I think the Guang Ming team will probably try to pick up the tempo. They've already started picking up full court right now to pick up the pace, maybe tire out some of the height on the other side, and they're getting to early offense right now. They're going to make some, they're going to miss some. They just got to be careful with the long shots that lead to long rebounds and leak outs.
Right, and in this case, we got a foul on Jello Santiago. Jello Santiago, one of the veterans of this lineup. We've seen him from the early seasons of the Pinoyliga Collegiate Cup from season 2 until now, around 2023. We've seen his development. We hope to see that he would have a breakout season for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, with a lot of these kids, you just got to be patient with them. They're going to have their moments. They come and go. But the teams are starting to really gel well. It's just a better brand of basketball from the first league to the second league. It's really turned it up a little bit. I was really excited about the atmosphere that I saw even in game 1.
We got Tebo Santiago going in with the ball, going in and out. Let's see what's going to happen here with Jolo Mansala with the ball. Jolo Mansala, coach, he's one of those two wingmen that we will know will be significant for the NU Bulldogs. The one that we saw earlier, Jake Figueroa, he will have a partner in Jolo Manansala. What's a big advantage if you have two great 2-3s in your team?
Man, if you've got guys like that can really knock it down on the perimeter and they can guard the perimeter really well, it just gives you so much advantage. They're pretty solid with their import player on the team, and so it gives them just a well-balanced lineup. I mean, it's kind of hard to stack your defense on one side of the floor when a skip pass can burn you too.
Right, in the case right now of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, they're trying to go to Stephen Iheben, which makes sense right now because Omar John is not in the ball game. So they're taking advantage. Coach Paul Ramos has I think, devised a way para yung bola to go into Stephen Iheben. What do you think of that, Coach?
Well, I think that's a great strategy. I mean, coaches are watching these substitution tables, every 2 seconds. If somebody comes out, the matchups are coming from that. Sometimes the game doesn't dictate, but the substitution patterns may dictate how you attack them. And I think they're starting to utilize that inside, and they'll go inside and try to use some of that girth.
The ball right now is in the hands of the NU Bulldogs. We got Devil Garcia as the point guard. Steve Nash is on the bench right now. Let's see what's going to happen. Santiago, number 16 with the ball. Padrones has that. Kenshin Padrones fouled or lost the ball in that case, but this guy, number 77, coach, he has his long game, and I think in this case he's gonna be replaced by Omar Jan. Is Coach Jeff Napa adjusting to the fact that Stephen Heaven is inside the court right now, Coach?
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't want to see this lead dissipate, so he's going to be after it. They made a great substitution pattern here. It kind of neutralizes him a little bit.
And we got Stephen Heaven with the ball going outside with that sweet stroke that he has.
Well, that's a benefit. You know, when you have a big guy who can step out at the 15-foot range and bring the big man away from the basket, it opens up rebounding opportunities for others.
We got 26 seconds in the ball game, 20-13. We have 7-point advantage for the NU Bulldogs. Last 26 seconds, you got 16 seconds on your shot clock. What do you do, Coach, in this case?
Well, obviously you want to look for a good shot. Maybe something attacking the rim, nothing too quick, some high scheme and roll. They're packing the paint a little bit, so I'm assuming they may end up with a mid-range shot up in here somewhere. There it is.
And you got Devil Garcia with that shot, one of the more capable young point guards of college basketball right now. Got Ken Pareñas with the ball and 2 seconds in his hands. That ends the first quarter of the game with the NU Bulldogs 22 up, 13 for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. As we take a look at our first quarter highlights, Paul Francisco with that rim run, and our Guang Ming Flying Dragons, Joshua Hamyas showing us his stuff, and Omar Jan with that slam. And we take a break as we end this first quarter. Magbabalik po kami, mga kaliga.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power.
To do it all.
Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
We got our fun fan fam from Amelie Hotel, ang ating mga kaliga who's part na ng Saturday Fun Fan Fam ng Pinoyliga Cup. I see in there yung mga kasama natin from Guang Ming Flying Dragons, si Miss Sharat. Shout out to all of our friends from the Guang Ming Flying Dragons and from the Guang Ming College, all the way in Tagaytay. Coach, have you been to Tagaytay?
I have. I've been to Leslie, so I know what it's like to head to Balaloo.
Nice. Nice. And Guang Ming Flying Dragons obviously is a school from Tagaytay, and they're slowly starting to be known as a basketball program that can, and the exposure that they're getting in leagues like this, I think it's helpful for them.
Well, obviously the Pinoy League is a tremendous foundation for young teams to come and compete against teams at a higher level and improve their awareness of who they are.
And that's a missed shot from Joshua Hamyas. You don't want to see that as a coach, right?
Well, yeah, it happens through the course of the game. But obviously, just focus, concentration, finishing the shot at the rim, that's important.
And the good thing about Joshua Hamyas is that he went back on defense and got that defensive stop. And now his team now has an opportunity to get back. Still is 22-13 in favor of the NU Bulldogs. We got 9:23 in the ball game. Marie Pecolera with the ball. Their primary decision maker, primary point guard on the weave. We got Joshua Hamyas on that jump shot. Smooth, but no butter. As the NU Bulldogs, they come in. Jolo Manansala fouled. No basket. As we have Joshua Hamyas with his foul. And it's the first team foul of Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Coach, Let's just see here the LGR rebound of the game, given to us by Omar John.
Well, Omar's actually super active out there in the paint. He's a big guy. He stretches out. He uses his body very well. Shield guys off.
Now, what do you want if you're in developing an ideal FSA? What do you want to see in a foreign student athlete?
Well, you know, obviously with the big guys, the most important thing, especially here in the Philippines, is they've got to be able to run the floor. They've got to be able to rim run, defend the paint. Obviously, great footwork in there is good, being able to finish at the rim.
We got the two FSAs, trading baskets. One, Stephen Heaven showing us his range, and Omar John with that incursion in the middle.
Well, it's going to be a great matchup, and they have to neutralize themselves. If any one of those guys take control of the game, it'll be a lopsided game. So the fact that they're going neck and neck at each other like that, and neutralizing the game, is going to force other players to have to step up.
Right, and Stephen Heaven, he now has a match up in Omar John. I think they have the same length and the same wingspan, similar type of play.
Almost the same body structure, almost exactly. Kind of the same movements.
Yeah, so this is an interesting watch that we're going to see in terms of the FSAs. As we see the NU Bulldogs develop this offense that they have through Jello Santiago.
Guang Ming had a great defensive possession just now. But NU, credit them. Those guys, they spread the floor. They have great spacing in their offense. Just a little bit more ball movement. I think you'll start seeing things open up for them a little more.
We got Jello Santiago out for the NU Bulldogs. Jomari Pecolera with that shot. Money. Jomari Pecolera, when we talked to Coach Paul Ramos, he was very high on his primary point guard. What do you see in him, Coach?
Well, I like him. He's aggressive with the basketball. His intent is obviously to start the offense, but he's always aggressive to score and thinking to score, and that forces you to have to defend. He gets paint touches, and that's what you want out of your point guards, to defend well.
Speaking of great aggressive point guards, we got Debel Garcia with an N1 for the NU Bulldogs. He's one of the best point guards that was recruited of 2 years ago. So we see a lot of good things for this kid. He has, Steve Nash Enriquez in front of him, Reinhard Umamoy. But it's only a matter of time before this kid develops.
Oh, absolutely. I like what he does in the game. He's getting paint touches. He's getting the ball to the right people at the right time, and he's still aggressive enough to take his shot and getting to the free throw line.
As we see the Guang Ming Flying Dragons go to Stephen Heaven in the middle, swarmed by the NU defense. We got Garcia completing that defensive stop. And the NU Bulldogs, Jomari Pecolera, they keep it close, 29-27. Coach, we got 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go. NU with the ball, Manan Sala with an early incursion. Seeing that there's no defense that's formed, Coach, what do you think of that?
Well, NU is going to be one of those teams that they can really get you in the half court. That's where the experience come in. But I think what Guang Ming has to do is they have to come out really looking primary break, secondary break, quick hitter offense, which is what they're doing. And those quick three-pointers and those pull-ups and transition is what's keeping them in the game right now.
Right. You saw there in that last offensive set that they have, close shots twice already. They weren't able to convert on that. And the NU Bulldogs, they're just taking advantage of all of those things.
Well, they're experienced ball club. And those kids, as the game get tight, they're going to stay to their game plan. They're just true to their game plan. And then they can sub. They can go deep on their bench and everything. They don't fall off at all.
Yeah, Kurt Lactactao, Jomari Pecolera, they're expected to really contribute in this group that they have right now. We got Jomari Pecolera. Let's hope that they complete it. That's just sloppy ball right there, Coach.
Yeah, in transition, they should have gotten the ball to the middle, space the floor. make the defender commit. That would have been an easy layup.
Do you think there's a certain sense of intimidation that's happening for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons at this point?
You know, I think NU's always going to be able to play loose. You know, whenever you're playing teams from other conferences like this, the pressure's always on those other teams to want to come and compete well against a UAP team. And so, yeah, it'll have them tight a little bit.
Yeah, as we see Omar John sealing so well for that end one against Stephen Heaven. He's getting the best right now of Stephen Heaven.
And when they go inside, you know, they got a lot of isolation. If you look, the wings are spread properly, so they have the defense with them. So you can't really double down on him. He kicks into the corner, and obviously NU's wings can really knock down shots. So they're doing a good job of picking their poison.
Omar John completing the three-point play for the NU Bulldogs, making it a 14-point lead, 36-22. We got 5 minutes in this second quarter. For the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, what do they need to do, Coach, to keep it close?
Well, they're playing against a 1-2-2 zone, so they're going to have to get it into the middle and split it a little bit and kick it back out in hopes to draw the defense in so they can get some better looks, some shots they can step into.
The case of the NU Bulldogs are trying to spin it to the big man, Omar John, in this case.
Well, they're going to force feed him right now. Until you stop him, why not?
That's a tiny three-point shot from Kurt Lactau as the NU Bulldogs take this time out. Magbabalik po kami, mga kaliga.
Mga kaliga, you're still watching the Pinoyliga Collegiate Cup, and small but terrible flying dragon that is Brian Topacio from Dasmariñas, Cavite. Turns out that this is just his first year with Guang Ming. Brian also expressed his what-ifs on the team's loss versus EAC in their next man cup stint. So close yet so far, pero after naman daw nun ay back to daily practices sila dahil this time, hindi lang daw isa o dalawa ang kakalaban nilang Giants, which is why it's better to always be prepared of what is to come. Now, Benny and Coach Lorian, what's the edge of Guang Ming in this matchup?
Coach, talk us through. Youngest question.
They've had some success with getting that shot in transition before the defense can set up. They're probably going to have to stick with that and then get something going to the rim a little bit more. They're going to have to find an inside presence and then they can work the outside.
For the NU Bulldogs, Steve Nash Enriquez is back in the ball game. So is Jake Figueroa. It's going to be trouble for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, like what they showed there. Jake Figueroa with that layup.
Well, I think they came into a really good aggressive zone. You just can't give up that baseline. That's a mortal sin in basketball. You just can't give that up. There's nothing good going to come to you.
We got number 8, Kent Pereñas with the ball right now, doing some weave action up top. Jake Figueroa with the ball for the NU Bulldogs. And again, Jake Figueroa on that receiving end with the foul. Do you think, Coach, Jake Figueroa brings to this is the pass cut relocate mindset?
Well, absolutely. I mean, and then this team, they just never stop moving without the ball. Indicate really good players who have a good feel for the game. As you load it, the trailers, they continue to come. You can't just guard above the free throw line. These kids continue to look for the ball on cuts from below the 15-foot range all the way down to the 5-foot range. And it's going to open up after a while. You have to defend from the free throw line to the baseline.
Right. The case of the NU Bulldogs, they have solid chemistry. In fact, before the UAAP 87 season started, they were one of the contenders. That first game that they had against the De La Salle Green Archers, where Muhammad Diazana got injured, was a very significant moment in that campaign that they had.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's pivotal. They've always had a solid team. They were right in the mix every season, every single season that I've seen them play over the last few years. And it was always something. It was an injury. It was a player that was ejected one time that was out and missed some key games, but they were right there all the time. And, you know, no one can deny that they're a team that they could be a problem for anybody in that league.
Yeah, as we see here, Josh Mahamias with that emergency shot, and with the NU Bulldogs countering with an early offensive run. Omar John with the three-point play. Another timeout on the part of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Magbabalik po kami mga kaliga.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power All-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
And we are back in the ball game. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the second half. The NU Bulldogs with a commanding 44-25 game, and this is, coach, a 19-point advantage for the Bulldogs. What do you think are the successes that the Bulldogs are doing right now, and that's the reason why they have this 19-point lead?
Well, Guang Ming has been allowing them to penetrate the middle with cutters, and their last few baskets have been just layups straight through the middle, just cutters that are diving through. They're going to have to pack the paint a little bit and force them to shoot from the outside. If you're getting layups, why shoot perimeter shots? And they've been getting a lot of layups.
Yeah, you got Guang Ming setting up their offense right now. Kurt Lactagtao with the ball. So much activity up top. We don't see a lot of the ball movement going down. What do you think, coach, would be the adjustment for that to happen?
Well, you know, they're running a 3-2 zone, really spread and extended NU, and it's really covering all the three-point range shots. They're going to have to find a way to swing it into the corner, into the overload, and then get penetration from the mid-post area to penetrate that. It's going to be hard to do it from the top. You're not going to be able to get them off a seal there. You're going to have to swing it to the baseline and then hit a cutter coming through.
You had a very experienced bench for the NU Bulldogs. You got a champion PBA coach, Coach Shot Tangkinsen. That's part of the coaching staff of Coach Jeff Napa. Also have Coach Glenn Capascio, Coach Vicky Casiano. A lot of these names, they're luminaries of Philippine basketball, of coaching in Philippine basketball. So it's a deep bench for the coaches, for the NU Bulls. It's paying dividends right now, Coach. 47-25 in favor of the NU Bulldogs.
Well, you know, that coaching staff has really done a great job with these guys. And sometimes when you have a lead like this, you still have to be able to play. It's not so much just to win this game, but now it's time to work on things that you need later on in the season, and that's why you're seeing the different defenses that they're putting out there, and they're really going at it. So sometimes you have to play a game inside the game.
Right. I was able to watch some of the practices of the NU Bulldogs, and you could see the intensity, Coach, in the practices, and they're locked into the season, which is a good indication, knowing that NU Bulldogs, if healthy, might be one of the teams that you will be talking about when you talk about Final Four potential teams for the for the UAAP Season 88 Wars.
Yeah, they're always going to be a Final Four contender for me. If they're hot at that time and there's no injuries, they're a team who can win. They can win it. They're that good. They're disciplined. The guys come in, they have roles that are signed, and they stick to their roles. They do what they do well.
Yep, and on the case of Well, we have a timeout. We'll be right back, mga kaliga.
Okay.
And we're back, mga kaliga. We got the NU Bulldogs in command of this ball game, 49-25 over the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. 54 seconds to go in this second quarter. We got a lot of things going for the NU Bulldogs, but not a lot in terms of the offense of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Coach, you got 54 seconds. What do you think will be the things that Coach Paul Ramos of the Guang Flying Dragons will tell his boys?
Well, he came out right now, and he wants them to be aggressive in this last period. Hopefully, he can get a couple scores before they score. Well, they got one right now, but he's going to come in. They're not going to lay down, but I think they will start focusing more on running their sets. And sometimes when you get into lopsided, you still got to use these games as learning experiences. So I don't think you'll just see them go rip and run right now. They're going to try to work on something that when they're in this situation as though it was a close game.
Right, it's a 3-point shot by number 20. That's Lord Prince Natividad. They need that.
Yes.
And there's another one. There's a steal, but they weren't able to convert that. Jake Figueroa closing it out. And that ends our second quarter of this game between the NU Bulldogs and the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, with the Bulldogs in command, 51-28. Got the highlights, Coach, of this second half. Second quarter. We got, Jake Figueroa just showing us his bag. Well, the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, they were able to sustain a few through those 3-point shots, but it was Omar John who was rim running, who was getting all those 3-point plays. That's, giving the successes right now to the NU Bulldogs, 51-28. Again, magbabalik po kami, mga kaliga.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power.
To do it all.
Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now. Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power.
To do it all.
Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
Mga kaliga, magandang hapon sa inyo. At habang busy ang ating mga audience sa ating activities dito sa ENDERUN Gym, well, I'm here with Coach Vic Icasiano of the NU Bulldogs. Now, Coach Vic, good afternoon po sa inyo. And thank you for joining me in this halftime interview. Now, Coach Vic, nakwento nyo nga po na 5 po ang mga sinasalihan nyo pong off-season leagues. Pero ano po ba yung advantage of joining or being active during off-season para ready po kayo for the upcoming UAAP Season 88?
Okay, this is the 4th league that we're playing. Yung susunod, meron pang isa. No? So, bale tama ka, we're 5. Trying to get to know each other pa eh. So, hinahati namin yung team. Hindi pa talaga solid. So, kanina we played also. Iba naman yung team na nandun. I think, dun sa question mo, mas malalaman nila. More of how they play as a team, how they get to know each other, mga habits nila. Actually, yun lang ang gusto namin makita ngayon kung paano sila maglalaro as a team na iba-iba yung teammates nila. Kailangan masanay sila. Yun lang.
Yes po, Coach Vic. And very overwhelming po ang scoring ng NU Bulldogs right now in a score of 51-28. At kahit nga po sabi nyo na kinikilala pa lang po nila ang isa't isa, ay very overwhelming na rin po ang presence nila. So that is for the first half. Pero paano po ba ninyo as a coach masusustain yung momentum nila for the second half?
Oh, they just have to play how they played in the first half. Tuloy-tuloy lang. We just have to run, play our defense. The things that we're practicing, tuloy lang nila. So, yun lang. We just have to play. Yun lang naman sinasabi right now. Hindi pa naman sila under pressure. What we practice in, halimbawa this week, ito yung pre-practice namin. Want to see it na makita namin sa mga lalaroin namin na games. Yun lang.
And lastly po, may gusto po ba kayong batiin or i-shoutout sa ating live stream?
Binabati ko, hello to all basketball fans, to the fans of Pinoyliga. Good afternoon, good evening, and hope to see you here in the venue.
Thank you so much po, Coach Vic. And thank you po ulit for joining me in this interview. Now, that's all for now, mga kaliga. We'll be back shortly.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power. To do it all. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power All-access data now up to 90 days. Load now. Gigabytes of all-access power. To do it all. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power All-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
We're back in the ball game. We got the NU Bulldogs 51 and the Guang Ming Flying Dragons 28, mga kaliga. NU in cruise control. We got our halftime stats, field goal percentage, and our rebounds and assist information nandito po mga kaliga. Let's start off dito sa ating free throws. 8 of 13 on the part of the NU Bulldogs, while the Guang Ming Flying Dragons 3 of 4. In the rebound side, Coach Laurent, you got a 20 to 10 advantage on the part of the NU Bulldogs. They out-rebounded Guang Ming by 10 in terms of the assist side, 12 to 5, and then the turnovers, you got 3 and 6. Coach, your thoughts on this? What do you think is the biggest factor why NU is up front?
Well, obviously their points in the paint is great. I mean, they're 20 of 22. That's tremendous.
We got the following top scorers right now. Jake Figueroa, 13 points. Omar John, 12, and Tebel Garcia at 9 points. Jomari Pecolera, 12 points, and Stephen Heaven, Kurt Lactactao are the scorers for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Coach, who's the standout so far on the part of the Bulldogs?
I like the young kid. I like Garcia. I like the young kid. I mean, obviously, Figueroa and these guys are doing what they're supposed to do out there. They're veteran players, and they obviously it shows real quality play. But the young kid out here is showing some promise. He doesn't turn it over. He's making good decisions down the stretch. He's getting into the paint, getting it to the right people. It's pretty impressive for a young guy. There's a lot of promise for them.
Let's see if he could continue with that. We got the third quarter of this ball game, mga kaliga. Starting off with the Guang Ming Flying Dragons with the ball. See what's going to happen here, how this develops, mga kaliga.
Well,
Got Joshua Hamias up top. Yes, Coach.
Yeah, I think Guang Ming's going to try to be a little bit more patient with their offense. They have ball movement. They run a lot of dribble handoff, but I think they will be super aggressive on defense and try to force this team and hope they come out lackadaisical and try to make a difference in the third quarter.
Yeah, we got Steve Nash Enriquez, Kenshin Padrones up, and Stephen Heaven going on the rebound. I think they need a lot of these types of rebounds going into an early rim run. Let's hope that these shots will go in, although in this case, didn't. Paul Francisco going in.
Yeah, they're going to need a little bit more patience on the offensive end. But if they can hold NU to one and done and don't give them the second chance efforts, I think they'll be okay. They'll get back in the game.
Coming to be a bit aggressive on the part of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. They got 2 stops already right there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of converting though, Coach.
Yeah. Well, obviously you want the highest percentage shot you can get. I'm not sure 30-footer is the highest percentage shot you can get, but I won't stop them from being aggressive.
Yeah. Those decision making, you want to see that in your players, and a lot of these things, I think they're so overwhelmed right now with what's happening that it's mental on some situations for Guang Ming, Coach, like in the last 2 offensive sets that they had.
Well, that's what's going to happen in a situation like this, and this is why NU's a veterans team, and it's starting to show a little bit. On that last play down, we had all 5 players below the free throw line, and they were able to leak out and get an easy layup off that. And it's always that point guard's responsibility to be back, playing center field on something like that.
With a point guard like Steve Nash Enriquez right there, it's going to be a very big challenge for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. He's a very experienced point guard that they have.
Well, he's a thinker. He's a thinker. He makes that team go. He's the keys, and so he's going to always force that team to be on their P's and Q's at all times. He's going to make the right decisions.
Like in this case,
he won't miss too many of those.
We got the Guang Ming Flying Dragons with the ball right now.
Now's a good time to pound it inside. There you go.
I think it's a good opportunity for them. Omar John is not around. Stephen Heaven getting that foul, and he has an opportunity right now to get at least 2 points.
Yeah, when you have large leads like this, it's very important when you can get inside, get a good seal, obviously go to the free throw line, stop the clock, and start chewing into that lead a little bit.
Yeah, they need to make those free throws though. It's the miss on the first one for Stephen Heaven, who's dominating in the next man Cup in the tournament for the B players. But I think at this point, there has to be, a certain sense of upgrade in terms of mindset because he's now playing the A teams of the different colleges
Well, obviously
that they're going to be competing with.
Yeah, that's a big difference right there, and you're going to see what that veteran leadership looks like. But these young guys, they need that opportunity. They need that opportunity to come and get their feet wet.
And with that, we got the Guang Ming Flying Dragons suing for time. Babalik po kami mga kaliga.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
Back to the ball game, mga kaliga, 57-29, dominating still in this third quarter is the NU Bulldogs. They have this commanding lead. Coach, thoughts on what's been going great so far with the NU Bulldogs?
Well, NU is, they're just in business as usual. It's up to this Guang Ming team to bring it to them right now. They're going to have to match the intensity a little bit. I mean, they haven't had an opportunity to get NU to play fast. They're still playing in their same pace of the game, which is good. That was a great move right there, but getting it inside is a good start.
Right.
And obviously they're picking up full court now, so they expect them to be a little bit more aggressive.
Do you think it would have made sense if they did this early?
Well, when you're sparring, you're hoping things are going the right way, and had some of those three-pointers from me. They took 22 three-pointers in the first half. That's a lot of three-pointers to not have much success on it. So you can live and die by that. Long shots lead to long rebounds, long outlets, easy layups, and I think that's been the story to this point.
All right, they got another stop. Let's see if they could continue with this. Joshua Hamyas with the ball. They're continuing to go to Stephen Eheven, coach. Do you think sealing or bringing him much closer to the ring would make sense?
Yeah, I think some of those screens should be a little lower so the pick and roll situation can happen, and he can get to the rim with one or two dribbles. Too far out, it allows the defense to recover.
Oh, we got another steal on the part of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Another incursion to Stephen Eheven.
Getting the ball in the paint. That's going to be essential for them right now.
Guang Ming Flying Dragons with a mini run. They're tightening up on the defense, and they're going for some offense, some activity in the offense. You want that activity, coach, every time for your offense.
I think they have to mix it up. You're going to take one play at a time right now. You're not going to get it all back at once. So, one play at a time, one stop at a time. And you do such a great job of spreading the floor that it makes it very difficult for you to be able to come and trap them. They're going to send somebody to the basket. But another steal.
All right, it's another steal. Let's hope it's... Joshua Hamyas making sure right now that this will count in. And as we see, Coach Omar Jan has been activated back together with Jolo Navarro, number 42. They're going big. They're adjusting already, Coach. Coach Jeff Napa seeing that their lead is, in a way, reduced.
I think Coach saw enough. This Guang Ming team can be dangerous at times. When they get going, they can make baskets.
Right, and the danger is in the small guards that they have. They might be small in terms of size, but they have the heart. And this is a well-coached team.
They've got energy. And right now they're getting in the paint and they're attacking the basket. Fewer less three-pointers, and they're starting to have some success with that.
Oh, those are these are the little stuff that would have gone in, but the stars are slowly aligning for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, one play at a time. And the ball going back to the NU Bulldogs.
But they're starting to get in the paint. So now when they kick it out, you got a three-pointer that they can actually step into.
Yeah.
Your percentages go up when you're stepping into three-pointers.
We got Paul Francisco, number 7, bringing down the ball for the NU Bulldogs. Joel Navarro, and they're trying to look for Jolo Manansala in the lower ground of their ring. Now we turn over our coverage kay Bianca Tagarda, our CSR. Bianca, what's up?
One of the core players who is in his last playing year, that is Steve Nash Enriquez, a homegrown Bulldog na 9 years na raw na sa NU, opens up na kahit paalis na siya ay positive pa rin that he and his team will be able to make the most out of the next UAAP season. Although last season was a heartbreak for them, still it taught them lessons for life. Pero kung may aalis ay may darating, and so the legacy lives on. But Benny and Coach Lorian, basing from their performance in this game, what do you think sets the Bulldogs apart?
Well, chemistry, coach. It's familiarity that's bringing them the successes right now.
Well, absolutely. They trust their teammates, and you can see the ball moves extremely well. It doesn't stick anywhere, and any of them can score. And like I said before, they have such tremendous size out on the floor. It's hard to it's hard to switch on these guys, because they don't have to post up their FSA player. They can actually go at another guard or another wingman who's actually taller than them in exchange. So they're going to get higher percentage shots.
We want to see also for the NU Bulldogs coach Paul Francisco. He's been chunking up those 3-point shots, and he's having some successes on it. We want to see him break out. He's part of that wing lineup of the Bulldogs with Jolo Manansala, with Jake Figueroa, and then Paul Francisco.
When NU's they're inside outside, they move the ball so extremely well that when they get an open shot on the perimeter, it's wide open.
Right, and now we have it's a mini run. We got 20 points, and now it's going back to 22 points on the part of the NU Bulldogs. Tebul Garcia with that basket.
Well, you can't make mistakes with this NU team. They'll make you pay. You have to take advantage every time down. Got to be the highest percentage shot you can get, and you have to crash boards.
Yep. And we got Tebul Garcia bringing down the ball with that trail job by Jolo Manansala. No good. But Omar John cleaning up on that shot. The big presence of Omar John is clearly an advantage.
Absolutely. You're never going to find him out of position when the ball goes up. He's always going to be somewhere around getting that rebound. And you can't just box him out. You have to box him out and move him out. And he's a big body, so he's going to be there.
Omar John, a big contribution in the first quarter, but more importantly, it's his presence, it's his intimidation, a lot of the X factor that a big body can bring to your offense and your defense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been playing in the Philippines for a minute now, and he's obviously adjusted to the game. He knows his strengths. One-time MVP, and then obviously was up for MVP in the running again until they changed the rule, and it was for a local player. So he does a great job. He competes with anybody out there.
We got the ball in the hands of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, setting up their offense. Looking for Stephen Heaven once again. Joshua Hamyas. Let's see what's going to happen here. It's a 3-point shot. We got 2 minutes into 2 minutes before the quarter closes, and we got a 19-point ball game. This is a run already for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons.
Absolutely. If they can cut this lead down to 12 going into the fourth quarter, they're in good shape.
And there you go.
Back to paint. Great job.
Joshua Amias being active on both sides of the floor. Let's see what's going to happen there. And that's a hurried shot right there, Coach.
Yeah, I think we could have got something better going down.
Yeah, maybe he was feeling it. He was feeling it. But Joshua Amias is a designated shooter. He's one of those players that Coach Paul Ramos will rely on in terms of offense.
But that was a great time to hit the big man in transition who was also running the floor. Sometimes you got to reward the big guy. He's coming in. Should he have gotten fouled, we'd have a stop clock and an opportunity to make a couple more free throws and chew into that lead a little bit more.
As we go into a referee's timeout, see what's going to happen here. Of course, so the coaches are giving instructions to their 5 on the floor. We haven't seen Victor, the other FSA for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. We got Victor Akinyedi. We haven't seen him much. But here's the last shot of Joshua Amias, and our referees are looking for something here. Okay, so the verification is on the side of who touched it last.
Yes.
So the ball will go to the National University Bulldogs. Up by 19, 64 to 45, with 1 minute and 37 seconds to go in the ball game. Jake Figueroa bringing down the ball from taking themselves out of the pressure that the Guang Ming Flying Dragons is giving.
When you have so many guys who can actually handle the ball, and this pressure is not new to them. You know, you see this pressure throughout the UAP, and then obviously in other leagues that they play in, and so they're going to have success with it. You're not going to catch them off guard. You got to force them to make mistakes.
And the ball right now. So it's an issue of whether the ball 24-second shot clock went off in time, or is there a position? So Coach Jeff Napa, Coach, is requesting for a review of the last possession. We got the Guang Ming Flying Dragons down by 19, Coach. Got the NU Bulldogs. They're requesting for a review because of that last possession. So they're telling that there's no clear possession, and the Guang Ming Flying Dragons lost the ball at the baseline. Coach, what do you think? What do you think should be something that the Guang Ming Flying Dragons need to sustain? What's something that they're doing great right now?
Well, I think they're applying pressure in the backcourt, and that's pretty good. They just got to work on that secondary line of defense. After they give that relief pass out to the secondary ball handler, they got to be able to apply some pressure there, and the big guy's just going to have to guard space.
All right. In the case of the review of the NU Bulldogs, they're asking for 1 second on that shot clock that they have, which our referees, after reviewing it, they have given that 1 second back to the NU Bulldogs, Coach. An opportunity, Coach, once again for the NU Bulldogs to set their place on certain situations like this.
Well, this is a great time, regardless of the league. You know, I mean, this is a time to work on some of the offensive sets that you like to see them execute later in the season or in other games. It's a perfect time for them to work on things.
And the ball is going back to the side of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. They have 1 minute and 9 seconds to go to trim down this lead, this 19-point lead. Like you said, if they try to bring it down to around a manageable level, they might have a chance still, Coach.
Yeah, obviously, you know, if they can get it down to 12, which means they're going to have to, not take hurried shots, but they're going to have to get a high percentage shot. You missed a great opportunity there.
Now we're talking about Victor Akinyende, and he's now in the ball game.
And it's tough when you put a guy in like with this time, and it's like jumping on a treadmill that's already going at 10. It's very difficult to jump in and just be a factor right away.
Devil Garcia with that shot, missing it. 43 seconds to go. Guang Ming with the ball. Jomari Pecolera.
They should have been looking for two for one right now.
With that shot, there you go. Got 30 seconds in the ball game. It's now a 16-point lead.
And they should get the last possession. All they got to do is make a stop.
And there's a mismatch right there.
They're just so big, and you pack the paint. Those guys step in the threes. They don't miss them.
Yeah, Jello Santiago with that great shot from 3-point area. 19-point lead once again with 5 seconds to go. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Again, the length of NU is just.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yep. The end of the third quarter, we got the NU Bulldogs up 67-48. We got one more quarter to go, mga kaliga. Magbabalik po kami. But before we do that, let's see some Amelie Hotel third quarter highlight showing us how the Guang Ming Flying Dragons were able to at least come back, but the NU Bulldogs were holding serve time and again. 67-48 po, mga kaliga. Let's go back maya for the fourth quarter.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power. To do it all. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power All-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
Fam, mga kaliga. We got our fans right there enjoying the ball game, enjoying this great game between the NU Bulldogs and the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. Kayo po, mga kaliga, if you still have the time, punta lang po kayo dito sa ENDERUN Colleges. We got great games, every Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays, Coach. We have the fourth quarter of the ball game and the NU Bulldogs with the possession.
Well, NU is going to continue to pound in the side and run their stuff. It's going to be a little bit more of a desperation thing for Guang Ming, but I think they're going to come up and try to make some plays. I mean, it's a lot easier to play when you really have to be super aggressive. You can just kind of be loose a little bit.
Right, in this case, Coach Jello Santiago with another shot, but this time it's a different result. And there you go. That second jump of the NU Bulldogs is what's killing the Guang Ming Flying. I think they have a remedy already for Omar Jan, but the other bigs, the other jumpers of the NU Bulldogs becoming a problem.
Well, yeah, that size and that length has been tough all game. And these guys, they crash boards. They have a strong side, weak side, and middle board every time.
Yeah, ball going back to the NU Bulldogs. 69-48, 21-point lead for the NU Bulldogs. Garcia with the ball, bring it down to Jake Figueroa. Jomari Pecolera, fouled by Jello Santiago. Coach, if you were the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, what are the adjustments will you make? You got 8 minutes and 52 seconds to go.
Well, I try to attack the rim as much as I can, kind of keep the ball in transition, give up fouls where you need to out on the perimeter without fouling the shooter, and get them to the point where you have to send them to the line early so you don't have to be chasing the clock later in the game.
Guang Ming Flying Dragons going to Stephen Ihevem at the post. Yeah, Jake Figueroa bringing down the ball. Tebo Garcia trying to look for his man.
And this is the experience of the NU team. You know, obviously they're taking shots, 6-7 seconds left on the shot clock. They're going to use a lot of the clock. It's just a numbers game now.
Yeah, because they're trying to take advantage of their big lead and try to work with the clock. Guang Ming with the basket right there. 21-point lead, 71-50. Still in favor of the NU Bulldogs.
Guang Ming's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end. Probably go to a little bit more trapping and gambling and stuff. And you know, they should be okay with that. But
that's another encouragement right there.
That's tough right there. That's tough. NU's such an unselfish team.
It's not the guards that's killing them. It's the baseline guys that's killing them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All of those guys are guards. They're just big guys. They're guards. They can all handle the ball. They work the baseline really well. They're very active without the ball. They're no standers, and it just makes it difficult to defend.
And I think this is really to commend the efforts of the coaching staff, because they're preparing this team well for their upcoming wars for the UAAP season 88.
Well, no better platform to do it than the Pinoy League. Pinoy League brings tremendous talent in here.
You got Pareñas right there. That shot, they need that 21-point lead still. It's just a give and take kind of game right now, coach. There's no significant spurts for the Guang Ming Flying Dragons to make it a significant rally.
Again, here's the experience. They pull the ball out. He could have took a wide open shot, but he decides to pull it out. And they'll take this with 4 or 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
Up. It's a traveling call on Jake Figueroa.
Even with a traveling call, they still use 22 seconds of the shot clock. That's a successful.
Yeah, you take that as a win, coach. You know?
Yeah, successful possession.
So if you play the numbers game, it might be a very, very slim chance to get back. But, you know, stranger things has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, give or take, there's 2 or 3 3-point shots. It might set a different tone. So let's see what the Guang Ming Flying Dragons can offer at this point. I mean, shots like that, contested shots, out of rhythm, it's going to be something that's going to be difficult if they're going to continue with that. And as we go to the timeout, we will be back, mga kaliga.
It all boils down to defense. That is what Coach Paul Ramos insisted during the huddle of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. In order to win this game, they have to stop the offensive strike of the Bulldogs, at para magawa yan, ay kailangan din nila i-capitalize ang kanilang big guy na si Stephen Ihebem. Their opponents may be taller or bigger than them, but the Flying Dragons remain positive that they get to end this with a W one step at a time. Benny and Coach Lorian?
Well, they have to. They have to stay positive, obviously, because there's a lot of big games and a big big programs that they're gonna be facing, coach. And it's best for them to always have that positive mentality.
Absolutely. And this is a time when you look at a game almost like it's 0-0, and you just work on the things that you need to work on and prepare for the next game.
Yep, it's their first game. So in the elimination round, they would have 6 games to play, and there's a play-in for the 6th spot as we go through the format, and then a play-in within the group where 3 meets 6 and 4 meets 5, and whoever wins there, the first seeded team of that group and the second seeded team of that group will play the ones that survive the play-in, and then there's a crossover semifinals and then the championship.
Nice. And that's why it's so important for you to continue to work hard, because you got to make these adjustments now. You may see this team again.
Yep, and the good thing about this is that if you peak at the right time, that might probably be something that will work for you. So the first few games, if you meet the big teams, probably compete with them. Or if you lose, but you're peaking at the right time, and the stars align.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it's always been said, on any given day, anybody can fall.
Yep.
You bring your A game, and sometimes it's just clicking.
Yep. We got Guang Ming with the ball up top. Kurt Laktautau. And there you go. It's the lack of activity, the lack of fluidity that you can see right now is apparent.
Well, Guang Ming's kind of went to the bench a little bit. I don't know if they've thrown the towel in, but they're going to have to shorten those passes later in the game. NU's doing a good job of getting in the passing lanes.
Oh yeah, it's the length of the NU Bulldogs, and you could see that there's always the things that you see between the different programs in the Philippines.
Yeah.
As we go to another timeout, once again mga kaliga, magbabalik po kami.
Get 8 gigabytes of all-access power. Plus only TikTok to scroll and share non-stop. Power, work, life, and more. With Smart Power all-access data now up to 90 days. Load now.
Go back into the ball game with the NU Bulldogs holding on to a 19-point lead, 73-54. Mga kaliga, we got 4 minutes and 24 seconds to go in this ball game. But there you go, Coach.
NU's going to continue to run their sets. They understand, even if the game get lopsided, they know, in practice sessions, your teammates know all your plays, and you have to utilize times like this when you have a team who don't know anything to work on what you need to work on so that the execution can be there.
Yeah, so take a look at 3-point shot of the game. Coming in from Kenshin Padrones. He has that. He's a big man that can shoot, and he's shown that already, Coach. How important are stretch bigs like this?
Yeah, same play. It's always good when you can bring a big man away from the basket and allow, especially with a team like NU. You bring guys away from the basket, and you have 3 or 4 other guys who's just as big who can go grab rebounds down there.
Coach, just to talk about the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, they're preparing for the Blia Cup. That's their main league. That's their main tournament, and the Blia Cup is being held overseas. I think this is in July, in June or July. I'll check that out. But that's the main tournament of the Guang Ming Flying Dragons. So I was able to speak to their leaders and to the school administrators, and they were telling us that they use this opportunity to play against the big programs because they want to be prepared for the Blia Cup when it happens.
And that's going to be such a valuable asset to them. I mean, obviously they don't back down from anybody here. I mean, they're a little outmanned today, but they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep competing, and that prepares them for their own leagues, their own tournaments and stuff like that, where they may not see this level of competition, but they've seen it, and
Yep.
and nothing fears them.
Yeah, and the Guang Ming Flying Dragons has been a fixture in the Pinoyliga Collegiate Cup for the last 3 years. They were able to really show us that they could compete with the best. Right now, you don't have to look at the scores, but you have to look at the heart.
Well, sometimes winning is not always indicated on the scoreboard, and this team is continuing to get better, and those are the things that are important right now. Obviously we like to come out here and win every game, but winning is not everything, but wanting to win is everything. And I think these kids come out here wanting to win games, and they're wanting to get better, and they're just using this as a model to prepare themselves for what's coming up next.
And we see that in the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, mga kaliga, as they prepare for the other competitions. But right now, you could not take it from the NU Bulldogs on how they came prepared.
Yeah.
How they came with a lot of talent. As we enter the last 2 minutes. Brought to you by our friends from Smart 5G, mga kaliga.
NU is in such a routine, you know, it's almost like autopilot for them. You know, they know in certain moments of the game, they're very aware when 2 minutes come up, and you can look for them to be able to run certain things. And they may be about 4 more possessions left in this game, barring no layups. They're just not going to be quick to take quick shots. They're going to move the ball, run their sets.
And that shows a lot of the chemistry, coach, and the discipline that was instilled by the coaching staff, who I think they're prepared since last year, because but what we know is that they really are raring to get back.
Yeah.
Because they know where they're supposed to be. I think when I was talking to them, they were the only team that was able to beat LaSalle and UP last year. And that shows a lot, you know, that had it been that they weren't able to lose Muhammad Diazana during the first game that they had last UAAP season, they would have gone far.
They have such a selfless playing team. Those kids play for each other. They share the ball. They know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are, and they just milk it. I mean, they do what they're supposed to do. And if you come out and you get off your game plan, they're going to beat you. They'll beat you handedly. So they're never going to stop playing hard. They'll continue. Last possession, they ran the entire shot clock off. They didn't get a shot out, but they still continue to run their sets. Again, another successful possession, 24 seconds going off the shot clock.
Yep, and in this case, you know, it's the learning process and the maturation process that's important for both sides. It doesn't apply only to the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, because the NU Bulldogs, they really want to mature into the best competitive shape that they have as they enter into their biggest competition.
And they're doing a great job of. You got to commend the coaches on doing a great job with these kids, because in a situation like this, when the game is out of control and you put guys in off the bench, they have a tendency of wanting to just come in and take shots. But these guys are running their sets. They know that the coaches have an expectation of them, and it's always a next man thing up here. If a kid get hurt, they expect someone to step in, be able to run stuff, and focus all the way to the end. And they're doing a good job of that.
Yep. And in the case of the Bulldogs, they have a very nice pipeline of high school players that's going to be coming into them. They have nice recruits, and the core of their team is intact.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very dangerous NU Bulldogs that the other UAAP teams will be facing as they progress into this preseason.
Yeah. Well, the coaches have developed a great culture over there. It's not just a good team, but they have a great culture. And those kids are embracing the culture, even the younger kids. And so why not stay in something that you're comfortable with and you're enjoying, you're having success with?
Yep. And the Bulldogs will just dribble it out, and we're seeing the sportsmanship handshake between both teams. Coach, final thoughts on this game?
Well, you know, I thought NU came and took care of business. I thought they did what they're supposed to do. And I think for the Guang Ming team, at least they had an opportunity to come and play against a high-level caliber team here in the Philippines. And I think it's going to enhance their play as they move forward. They're only going to get better in this tournament.
Yep, it's a 78-58 win by the NU Bulldogs, chucking up their first win, while the Guang Ming Flying Dragons, they take on the loss. But we know that at some point, you know, they have their bearings back. As we go to another break that we have, babalik po kami mga kaliga to close out this ball game.
Mga Kaliga, I'm here with our best player of the game with a double-double performance. That is Omar John from the NU Bulldogs. Now, Omar, congratulations for this win and for being the player of the game. Now, I just want to know what fueled you for this double-double performance.
First of all, thank God for this opportunity. As I said, like I just play my game. Like we just play our game, okay? Because we have to start strong and finish strong. But unfortunately, in the third quarter, we gamble. I don't know what's happened. Yeah, but it's good because we will keep improving one day at a time. Yeah, and yeah, we are.
And I've noticed that you're quite close with your teammates. Now, what do you like about them when you're in court?
The communication, the hustle, and like we are not the teammate. We are brothers. We are family. Yeah, that's what I really like, and I hope we're gonna keep that until the season. Yeah.
And it truly shows inside and outside of the court on how you are brothers to each other. Now, lastly, would you like to greet someone or to thank someone live?
Um, yeah, like shout out to my family, shout out to my teammates. Like they are my brothers. Like because every day we bond, we build something, friendship, something like that. Yeah, and shout out to my friends also. Shout out to Tef Spinner, shout out to SNE 13. Like yeah, shout out to NU community, my coaches. Shout out to you. You do a good job. Shout out to Pinoyliga. Yeah, and shout out to everyone.
Thank you so much, Omar Jan. And again, that's all for our best player of the game interview. Now, let's go back to the panel.
And another game in the bag, 78 to 58, coach. Like great seeing, good character, the players like Omar Jan there getting the player of the game. As we go to our schedule tomorrow, it's going to be the first game of that Alumni Cup Championship Series between the San Beda alumni versus the Letran Perea Moto District, coach. It's going to be tomorrow, 6 p.m. here at the ENDERUN Titans Gym. Coach, are you a fan of the alumni?
I have. I actually watched a few games.
Alright.
I know Willie. He coaches with Converge. My son plays on Converge,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
that's
always
true.
it's always a good time to
Yeah,
see
and,
him.
and as we go through the game highlights of the game, it's the NU Bulldogs coming out with the victory with a very clinical breakdown of that game that we have. Shout out, of course, to all of our Pinoyliga fans who watched both games. The UP Fighting Maroons coming out the victors over the Benil Blazers, and here the NU Bulldogs over the Guang Ming Flying Giants. Maraming salamat po mga kaliga. This is Benny Benitez with Coach Laurent Watkins. Nagpapaalam po and see you tomorrow mga kaliga.